welcome to another Into the Void Real review. This time we're reviewing an Apple TV exclusive, The Gorge, starring Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. This I would call a sci-fi thriller, and one that many people may miss since it didn't have a theatrical release. I'm here to advertise to the masses how this may be well worth checking out. I know this sounds like I'm advertising for Apple TV, but I promise you I'm not. The Gorge is directed and written by Zach Dean, who I'm not familiar with. This film was released on Valentine's Day, and it seems like that isn't a coincidence. After all, it has something for men and women. A bit of setup is in order. Miles Teller, who plays Levi, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Drasa, are a pair of operatives, aka snipers, who have to protect a gorge from things coming out of it. Those things pertain to the sci-fi element of this movie, which provides enough intrigue to move the main plot along. Arguably, though, that's not the most interesting part of this film, because romance is kind of front and center, at least in the beginning, and provides enough setup for the audience to get invested in these two up-and-coming actors. And honestly, I would call this a sci-fi romance more than a sci-fi thriller. That's why this makes for a great Valentine's Day flick to watch. Miles Teller as Levi and Anya Taylor-Joy as Drasa provide an enigmatic chemistry and surprise heart that make their connection real and believable. When you find out the mystery of what is actually in the gorge, the movie starts to tread familiar waters and is at its weakest at that point. But the gorge wisely doesn't show all its cards at once, which is smart. Sigourney Weaver plays Bartholomew, who is responsible for sending Levi out to the gorge to relieve the help. The operative JD, played by Sophie Derisu, JD onboards Levi onto the do's and don'ts of protecting the gorge, and one crucial don't is not to converse with the other tower that is protecting the other side of the gorge.
There is no outside communication here.
What's that on the other side?
That is East Tower. Contact with the other side is strictly forbidden.
Of course, that rule is broken because honestly, how can you follow that rule when the operative, aka sniper, across the gorge is as beautiful as Anya Taylor-Joy? Not to mention, you won't have any human contact for at least a year when the next operative comes in to relieve you of your duty. That's a rule that is only going to be broken, and we don't get a movie here if things don't happen between the two stars. The gorge is strongest in the beginning when the romance between Levi and Drasa blossoms after the two converse via handwritten notes and game nights of charades. I'm just kidding about the charades, but I couldn't help but think that the people behind this film missed a fantastic opportunity to implement the game here. I'm just kidding. The two have some memorable scenes, especially when Drasa blasts some Ramones over the gorge and dances like she just don't care. And Levi plays it cool and says he can't dance. When things become serious between the two and a connection's made, things after that become less impactful and interesting, but not to the degree where I didn't want to see what happened next. I was eager to know what secrets the gorge held, and there are interesting reveals that happen towards the latter half, even if it's a little too convenient in its execution. The main draw of what is in the gorge is visually arresting, but suffers from the issue of things being a little too dark to actually make out the action that's happening on screen. To say more would spoil the show, so I'm leaving it there for you guys to discover. I think the gorge is well worth your time, especially if you do like these two actors. Throw in some sci-fi and you can't go wrong. Dare I say it is a perfect date movie, so I would recommend this to anyone. It's got the goods. I'm giving The Gorge an 8 out of 10. Stream it in your home and stay in for the night. What movie that wasn't released in the theater have you enjoyed the most? Like and subscribe if you want more of this content, and I will see you the next time when we venture into the void.